Hey, we're here.
Welcome to Flak.
Yay.
We are once again taping at another time, and then we'll upload it on Sunday morning. And
Brought to you in living color.
yeah, something like that. We're going to be talking about the big topic this week of Pretendians, that being people who claim indigenous heritage who have none. And I don't mean those of us little white Americans and Black Americans and Latino Americans who have like 1/8 Native American ancestry. We actually have more. We have like 1/5.
A little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, we're not going around saying
No.
we're Cherokee.
We're not opening casinos or anything.
I had my friend Robin, who is a almost full blood, 2/3 Lakota Indian. She used to work for the BIA, and she jokingly signed me up with a humorous Indian registry for those of us ghost children. And my Indian name was Runs with Scissors. So that's the only way in which I'm an Indian.
Yep, that was. Isn't that what they called what was that? What was that
Yes.
comedy with Charlie Sheen?
Yeah, that was.
He had a name like that.
Also, Al Yankovic had that as the name of it, but I had the name a long time ago. I was recorded as Runs with Scissors 25 years ago. So anybody who got it after me. Anyway, although I'm sure somebody else thought of it before.
Now, before we get started talking about Buffy St. Marie, I have a little bone to pick with the Disney company that I wanted to mention. Disney announced this week the hiring of a new chief financial officer. And his name is Hugh Johnston. And he's a white guy, a middle-aged white guy.
Surprise.
And Disney, if you really want to show everybody how you're into diversity, I am quite sure there is a large percentage of women, Black, Mexican, all colors of the rainbow people who could fill that position just as well as Hugh Johnston. And wouldn't you really be showing America how you are inclusive of other people by doing that rather than making a cartoon princess? But anyway, now I have an annual pass, so probably taken away from me. But anyway.
No, I agree. I mean, they can turn another princess into a Martian or whatever. But yeah, if they would hire for big roles in their company from minority communities, that would speak loads more than some stupid movie that will fall in history within 25, 30 years and be forgotten.
Yep.
So that's what needs to be done. I agree.
One reporter's opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, I should steal that. I mean, George Putnam's.
Did you just do that?
Yeah, George Putnam's been dead for 50 years, so I think I could steal it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's gone, yeah.
He was a local reporter here on Channel 11, and he used to do this thing called One Reporter's Opinion.
Yeah, the LA area was very gifted in that we had tons of local journalists and local children's show hosts that were full professionals who were
And
really
some did
good at
both.
what they did. Yeah.
Like Stan Chambers did both. He did
Yeah.
a kid show and he was a reporter.
Yep.
And he was a significant reporter in that he broadcast the first live, I think it was live by satellite broadcast ever.
Yep. Yeah, he did. I remember that.
Yep.
And he hasn't been gone very long. He's
Probably 10 years, something
yeah.
like that.
So
But
he had a long career.
he was active till right up to the end, like Charlie Tuna. That
Yep.
was another one that was here locally forever. He was on KHJ, and then after KHJ went bye-bye, he switched over to K-Earth. And he used to do the Sunday morning Beatle show on K-Earth for years and years and years.
And we also had Ralph Story, who was the local, who was just a learned, incredibly, just very gifted in many ways. I'm trying to think of what fields he was in. And now, of course, I can't remember.
Well, he had a really good early morning show.
Oh, yeah.
Called Good Morning Los Angeles. And it was Bob Banfield,
yep,
Stephanie Edwards,
right,
and Ralph Story. And it was great. And Stephanie Edwards went on and hosted the Rose Parade for forever until they thought she was too old and they kicked her to the curb.
Yeah. But Ralph Story literally is a Los Angeles legend. Everybody knows him. And I think all of you with PBS probably have seen his Things That Aren't Here Anymore series, which encapsulates everything that was built in LA and then torn down.
Yep, I have both of the DVDs.
It is. It's one of the great local series.
I donated $50 to PBS to get those 2 DVDs.
Hey.
I got Things That Aren't Here Anymore and more things that are not here anymore.
Yeah.
And those are, if you ever wonder about Los Angeles, about what it used to be like, find somewhere, I'm sure somebody's streaming it someplace. Watch those 2 shows. Excellent. Excellent about the history of Los Angeles.
Yep, it is. And it's, for anybody who's a graphic artist who has to do retro work, that's a wonderful source for visual images, information, that kind of thing. So, getting on to our topic of the day, I honestly was very surprised by this. And that's surprising to me because I usually know this stuff. And but it has been confirmed both with DNA and birth records that Buffy St. Marie is not indigenous, except to Europe. She is...
she's indigenous to somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
She was the biological daughter of the Santa Maria family from Massachusetts. She was not born in Canada. She was not born on Canadian indigenous land. I'm not sure what the term is. They don't say reservation. They say something else. But she does not have that ancestry at all. Now, she was adopted by a Pequot family in later years when she was in her 20s. But that's something that's done ceremonially, and it doesn't make you an Indian. It's just even though it's done with great importance and acceptance, it doesn't change your birth record. And her birth record, there's no doubt whatsoever, it was the birth record of a live birth to two people who are identified as white. Her father was Italian and her mother was English. And both of them born and raised in the U.S. There's no question about it whatsoever. She was not born or formally adopted into Native American, Native Canadian tribes. So
yeah, I got online and I found basically what you're saying. Mainly, apparently, this was originally pursued by the Canadian Broadcasting Company. One of the reporters on the Canadian Broadcasting Company, they sent him to her hometown, or the hometown of the people that supposedly adopted her, and he got a hold of her birth certificate, which showed a live birth to those two people. Exactly. With her name on it.
Not in so,
yeah, so.
She was born of those people. And
no, she is still disputing it. She has not owned up to any of this. She is still disputing it. Well, I'm just saying, she's still disputing it. She hasn't admitted to it.
Her son had DNA done for ancestry reasons, and he is not Native American or Native Canadian. He is, in fact, the first generation cousin to Alvin St. Marie, who is Buffy St. Marie's brother.
Yeah, he passed away, I guess, 11 years ago, something like that.
She threatened him legally that she would ruin him if he pressed on and told anybody about her background. And, you know, it was horrible what was done to him and what was done to her whole family. I mean, even if her allegations of abuse and all of that were true, it's an insult to her own community. And the Italians and the English in Massachusetts have a long history there. So why appropriate somebody else's identity? I just, because she got $2,000 a show when she was a Native American, when most folk singers were making about $30 a pop.
Now, I have to point out that this is not unique.
Not at all.
There was a gentleman who most people my age and Melody's age remember, and he called himself Iron Eyes Cody. And he did a series of Don't Litter commercials where they showed people throwing trash out of the car, and then they showed a close-up of his face with a tear going down his eye. And he was dressed in the ceremonial headdress and everything. Well, Iron Eyes Cody was Sicilian. He wasn't Native American. He was Sicilian. But the Indians adopted him because they liked the image that he portrayed of them. So they liked him.
And he was honest about it. He told everybody. He was
not but he was not an Native American. For instance, another movie star who for many years portrayed himself to be Mexican was a gentleman by the name of Duncan Ronaldo. Now that sounds like a Latin name. Well, he was from Romania. He played the Cisco Kid.
However, His co-star.
Yeah, his co-star was a Mexican American. Although he wasn't born in Mexico, he was born in Los Angeles. But his parents were born in Mexico. So, and they named a beach after him, and that was Leo Carrillo.
Yeah, he, in fact, his family donated the beach. So it was named after him. Who is
I think it was named after his father, actually.
Yeah, oh yes, you're right.
I think he was Leo Carrillo II, and
Yeah.
I believe it was named after his father.
Yeah.
But there were a number of people. It was very common for white actors to play Mexican actors and to play Native American actors.
Yeah.
Michael Ansara did, I forget the name of the TV series where he played a Native American.
It would happen a lot.
Yeah, and Guy Williams from Lost in Space. He played Zorro,
Yeah.
who was supposed to be a Mexican actor. And the only Mexican actors they had in Zorro were playing the stupid soldiers, so
Yeah.
which was certainly not, a nice image to
No, it's
to
nothing that
play.
you want to convey.
Right.
And there are a number of, and this is another point I want to make. There's a lot of this, you Latinos, you're not Native American, stop calling yourself that. Well, one of my best friends is a lady named Maria. And Maria, her grandfather was full-blood Hichi Indian. So she's 1/4 and looks it. So, there are plenty of Mexicans who are native Mexican, who are indigenous. So,
Well, you have to remember that before the United States existed, and the Mexican area and the Indian area was kind of, the Native American area was kind of intermingled. There wasn't like the border. It was an open area. So there were lots of people, intermingling and intermarrying and so forth. So I'm quite sure that that took place.
yep.
In fact, most of the people nowadays say that the Native Americans are actually from Russia. No, that's true.
I know that's one of the. I'm just laughing because it just shows you how little we actually know about our backgrounds.
Yeah, apparently there was a piece of land going between Siberia and Alaska back then.
Yeah.
And people migrated across that. And if you look at some of the people in Siberia and you look at the Eskimos, and they bear a striking resemblance to each other. And if you look at the Eskimos and you look at some Native Americans, and they bear a striking resemblance to each other. So I think there's a very good possibility that some of that did occur.
Well, when they look at the genetic trends, they also see that there's some shared history with the Australian indigenous people and our own indigenous people. That our history goes farther back than we have been allowed to know, and has been more integrated than we previously believed. And yeah, definitely the Siberian people are represented in our indigenous folks. And adding on to that, if you've ever seen any documentaries about the cultures of the islands near Japan, you'll see a lot of wearing of feathers and headdresses and just an entire style of living that is very suggestive of what we see in American Indian tribes here. So, you know, they are people of many lands, and they are not, in fact, indigenous. So they came from a lot of places. We all did. But they've been here longer than we have. So if anybody has a right to call themselves indigenous, they do. But let's say that.
Let's see, wasn't it? I'm trying to think of what it was called. Mitochondrial A?
Yeah.
Isn't that the first human?
Yes. You were the haplogroups, yeah.
Yeah, that was in Africa. So I guess we're all from Africa.
We are. We're all African.
We all started there.
This little doughboy white face we have is a combination of African and Asian.
Yeah, not millions, but thousands of years.
Well, maybe millions. We don't know.
No, not millions, because there were no humans when there were dinosaurs.
I've been reading a lot of Graham Hancock lately. Yeah. But anyway, there's a considerable amount of data to show that we are all one race. That there is no white race, that's for certain. We're a mixture of races, and we have only two races, and really they're one. So let's get off our high horse when it comes to that kind of thing. But,
stop shooting at each other.
Yes, exactly. You might notice you look like each other. Okay.
We're all stuck on this round ball of clay, so you might as well stop shooting at your neighbor.
Yep. It used to be legal on, I believe it was Saturday, to shoot a Scotsman in England. So that's
really?
What I tell you. If they did that now, they'd have nobody in.
Only on Saturdays?
Only on Saturdays. Now you know what happened to some of our relatives.
Probably.
Because if they were going to be loudmouth Scotsmen, we're related in there somewhere. But that's the other thing, is that everybody who has a DNA account with Ancestry knows that our heritage has been in a spin dryer the last 2 years. Whereas it was a time we were 1/3 English and 2/3 Scots-Irish. And now they say we're half English and 1/3 Scots-Irish and Welsh. And
once the Chinese got their hands on all that DNA information, that was anybody who did like we did and sent your spit into
you spit into an envelope
into those people. You gave all your DNA information to the Chinese, so
I wouldn't worry about it though, because we got all theirs too. But that's a long story. I'll tell you about it off air. I think it's important to point out there have been a lot of Native Americans in the entertainment industry who've done quite well for themselves. People like Randolph Mantooth, who is an Indian and has done TV
Emergency.
Yeah, Emergency. And
Kevin Teig and Randolph Mantooth.
Exactly. And
let's see, one of them died, didn't they?
Yeah, that was Kevin Teig.
He was on the West Wing.
Yeah. Well, they're I'm trying to think. Meg Tilly is half indigenous. She's an actress. Her sister is as well, obviously. And, people like Tommy Lee Jones is like 1/8 Cherokee like we are. So there are plenty of Native Americans and Native Canadians and lots of people to be proud of. You don't have to weep for Buffy St. Marie. She was never real to begin with. And
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
bingo. The this whole issue of disingenuity. What do they call it again? They keep up with these terms. Oh, forgive it. Pretendians. I like that better. This
Pretendians. I like
yeah,
that.
Pretendians. Or genericies, as they call the ghost children. Those of us who don't have a record except for our pictures of our grandmothers and such. And most Native Americans, even those with, recent ancestors, don't have proof because of the scoop and because of various other elements. We have pictures of our grandmother's family, and one of them was clearly tribal. So that's kind of the heritage you have when you're an American. If you can't afford to spit into an envelope and send it in ancestry. But see, that's what I like about having come from the people we did. Our families essentially were hillbillies, and the hillbillies knew their ancestors, and
because they were related to most of them.
Yeah. And
yep, they married their first cousins.
Unfortunately. Well, there weren't a whole lot of people, So we have, in fact, if you look at our wiki tree, the number of people we're related to is mind-numbing. Taylor Swift is our 6th cousin.
Nah.
Yes. Go look at it. I'll send it to you. It's on there, and it's been.
Do we get some of the money?
Our DNA.
When do I start receiving the residuals?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she'll tell us to go to hell.
Well, if you wonder about our family background, if you've ever seen the movie The Grapes of Wrath, transplant those people to Arkansas, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
The only thing was they had it a little better because my grandfather had the promise of a job out here, because my grandfather was a skilled carpenter.
Yeah.
So he got a job at Angelus Furniture, working alongside Alfalfa.
Yeah.
From our gang.
Our grandfather crossed paths with more famous people.
Well, who was the one that talked to him during the film? They were filming a gangster movie.
No, it was off Executive Suite.
Okay, but wasn't it like George Raft or somebody like
William Holden.
Okay, and he went out to try to learn how to run my grandfather's machine, and it became obvious that he couldn't figure out how to run it because it was a very complicated machine. So my grandfather got to be in the movie in the background. He's wearing a Hogan's hat and suspenders. operating his machine in Executive Suite. So
he got to eat lunch with William Holden. My grandfather could talk about fly fishing. And the one thing in the world Bill Holden liked was fly fishing. So they talked all about fishing.
And my grandfather made the grand sum of $9 for that one day shooting. But that was what he normally made in a week. So he was very happy.
And he got an autograph.
Yeah. I wonder whatever happened to that autograph. I never found it when we were going through all the stuff at their house.
Paul McCartney note. Everything, it just, that's what Mom did. She dumped stuff. So.
Well, if you recall, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
We didn't get a whole bunch of my mom's stuff. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. In fact, I had talked about that with my friends.
We each got a box, and we were allowed to fill a box and then go away, which was pretty much it. So, anyway, he's dead. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. He has passed on, so...
I will. Just call me.
Well, I try not to say bad things about the dead.
You're a better person than I am, yes.
I don't want them to haunt me.
Well, they already haunt you, so...
Nah, I've never seen him.
No, not him. No.
I've seen Beverly, but haven't seen him.
Yeah, not him. He wouldn't be hang around. Anyway, where were we? The great thing about now, there's an example of somebody who was dark complected and who had European ancestry.
Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
We'll just call him Paul.
Okay. And he could have been Native American. So.
Well, he was Czechoslovakian, wasn't he?
Polish, I think.
Polish?
I believe so. Or German. Yeah, I guess German. His last name was Polish, but he said they were German. So.
Yeah, most Polish names seem to end in like Z's.
Ski or yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
the ones I've known anyway.
Yeah. Well, we have Thanksgiving coming up in a couple of weeks here in the U.S., and our Canadian friends already had it like a month ago. We're all sticker shocked, as we all are these days. And however, because of something I'll talk about in a second, we're all going out to dinner on Thanksgiving, which I was going to tell Mark about. We're going to a restaurant. So this is your invitation, Mark, to come with us to the restaurant. Because poor Bev, she's exhausted. Poor Bev, listen to me. Poor Mara.
Mara. I knew who you meant.
Yeah. She reminds me of Beverly a lot. But Mara is my daughter-in-law. She's Ben's wife. And they have just commenced adopting the two little critters who came in after Kenny. And that has already commenced. So in about 6 to 8 weeks, we'll get a court date and go in, and it'll be formal and finalized. And
I'll tell you, they are two wonderful people because they have adopted one and are in the process of adopting two more kids who God knows what kind of life they would have had.
They'd have had a horrible life. And
if they hadn't have done that. So I take my hat off to both of them.
they're good people. And Ben, bless his heart, was just in the emergency room this evening because the three boys have allergies to foods in their family. And Penny is allergic to peanuts and
peanuts can be bad too.
Yeah. And
Has he got a real bad peanut? Okay.
No, he's not severely allergic. It's just sort of But then tonight, Peanut, oddly enough, that's his nickname, had an allergic reaction to something they're still trying to discern. So
some of that could be bad. Beverly was allergic to crab.
Yeah.
And whenever she'd eat crab, her lips would swell up, and she could control it with Benadryl.
Yeah.
I used to know this kid that had a peanut allergy so bad he used to have to carry one of those EpiPens with him.
Oh, yeah. Well, in fact, the kids have all of that for the boys. And, it hasn't proved to be a problem with Sean Chubbs, but it is with Peanut. So we'll have to keep a good thought. And they were, the reason I brought them up, aside from the adoption, is that they had to be cleared to the Native American office because one of their relatives claimed that their mother was a princess or something like that. It's the kind of thing you hear when you're an American. And happily they were cleared through, and they are not at all Native Americans. So they get to be Clarks. And
now, what difference would it have made if they had been Native Americans?
They could have been. It wouldn't have included Kenny, because Kenny had a different ancestry because of his birth father. They have different fathers. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And if it proved that they had ancestry, they could have come in and gotten them and taken them away. I mean, it's like that. What good would that have done? Nothing. It would have been horrible. But happily, the native tribes said, no. We are not, they are not related to us. None of the names even popped up on their records. So they are nothing but who they are. And now they're Clarks. So where are we at time, brother?
Oh, we still have 21 minutes for coming in. But we can call it a show whenever you feel like calling it a show.
Okay. Well, let's see what else we have to talk about. We've talked about Disney. What about movies coming up? You told us about the Troll.
The one that's coming up, the big one that's coming up, is Wish.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen the previews of it. It actually looks pretty good. Yeah. I gotta say, it looks pretty good. It's kind of a twist. You've got the father of the princess turns out to be the bad guy. And then it turns out he's really not her father, and the people in this town, he lives in the castle, and they all make wishes, and the wishes are in like little bubbles, and he takes them to his lab, and he looks at them, and he decides whose wish is going to be granted. And the girl says, well, Dad, shouldn't they, or I don't know if she calls him Dad, but says, shouldn't they all be granted? And he says, he turns around, he's got these green eyes, and he says, I decide who gets what, And so he turns out to be the bad guy. So the girl makes a wish on a star, and the star comes down to Earth, and it's this little tiny, like emoji-looking star. I know I've seen that as an emoji, so they borrowed it from somewhere, and
why pay an artist when you can rip it off the web?
Yeah, so she is able to grant people wishes with the help of the star. So that's the basic idea behind that's. I got all that from the trailer. So, I'm not spilling the beans on anything. I don't know any secrets. That's all I got from the trailer. So
no spoilers.
They're revealing all of that in the trailer. So if you watch the trailer, you're going to know as much as I told you.
Well, there's a film I'm actually looking forward to, which I normally would never have had any interest in. It's by the, now I can't think of the name of the studio. It's a small studio, the same people who brought us the After Death movie. It's Journey to Bethlehem, and it's a musical, and it's actually supposed to be quite good. It's getting an 8.1 over on IMDb, which tends to eviscerate anything with religious content. So it looks like that might be something you guys might want to consider. I'm going to wait till it comes to TV because, I'm not going to pay money for, unless we just go and we, want to see a movie. There's also a film. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to bring up John Michael Straczynski. You familiar with who that is?
J. Michael Straczynski, yeah.
Yeah, he created Babylon 5. And he is trying to reboot the series. They came out with an animated movie, which was pretty good. I watched it. It has Bruce Boxleitner in it, and 2 or 3 of the cast of the people that are still living. Billy Mooney is in it, and I forget who else. A couple of them that are still living were done by other people. So, but even the ones that that were gone, that they did sound a lot like the people. Whoever they got to do Mira Furlan sounds just like her. So if you like Babylon 5, I would recommend I think it's called the Journey Home or something like that. I can't think of the name of it offhand, but it's good. It's you have to pay for it, but it's worth I think it was $9 or $10, something like that. It was worthwhile. And it was like an hour and 20-minute or something like that, but very, very well animated. It was good. So I don't know if I want him to reboot it, but since it's him doing it, I think maybe he might recast it and do good. The spin-off show they had for Babylon 5, which was called Crusade, that wasn't really that great.
Well, he had passed it on, so
Well, it had Hercules played the captain in it. What's the guy's name?
Storbo.
Yeah, he played the captain.
He's an awful actor.
Yeah, I think it would have been better. I didn't like how they poisoned the earth, and they were looking for a cure. It was kind of depressing.
Very
So
depressing.
I like my sci-fi to be upbeat. That's why I've always liked Star Trek. These new Star Treks, a lot of them are not very upbeat. Strange New Worlds is good. That's my Star Trek. I like Strange New Worlds.
It certainly is much more in the vein of the original. And the I'm looking for the name of this for you. And naturally, of course, I can't find it. But
it's called something like The Journey Home or the
nope, can't find it. But anyway, you'll all be happy to know Beyonce has a movie out. Not that anybody's going to see it that's over 30, but the Holdovers is the other movie I'm anxious to see.
It's called The Road Home.
The Road Home. Okay.
The Road Home.
I'm going to have to have a bone to pick with J. Michael Straczynski. My two Blake Seven fan novels the first one was called The Last Best Hope, and the second one was called The Long Road Home. The Long Way Back. Never mind, that doesn't apply at all.
Well, the first one, I'm afraid you borrowed that one from someone else.
No, I got that from the original person who made the comment. But and that reminds me. This really bugged me. I forget what it was, but someone on a major TV show credited the saying "facts are stubborn things" to Churchill. Churchill did not say that. John Adams said that many years before Churchill. So, anyway.
Well, that's that. What's that other saying they always say was Churchill? That's a mystery wrapped in an enigma.
Yeah.
That wasn't him either. He said it, but he didn't. He wasn't the original person to say it.
And that other thing they always credit to him, the thing about is the older you get, the more conservative you become. He never said. So they should get Churchill a little more dialed in when it comes to his quotations. They misquote him as badly as they do Mark Twain, who also gets misquoted regularly. But have you seen Oak Island?
I think I saw 1 or 2 episodes of it. I don't know. It didn't do anything for me.
Well, I started watching it in earnest last season, and they just found a 2,000-year-old coin on Oak Island in Canada, in that area of Canada, which should not have 2,000-year-old European coins on it. So
no,
the fascinating stuff that's coming to the surface.
I found a lot of similarities between that show and the Blind Frog Ranch
Same
show.
production company. Yeah.
Yeah, they seemed very similar in the way they were produced.
Yeah, same production company.
I mean, the Blind Frog Ranch, as soon as they discovered that somebody had come in the backside of that mountain and taken all the stuff out that they were trying to get to, that should have been the end of the show.
Should have.
Because that was the whole idea, that they were trying to get this gold that was the Incas or somebody had stored in this cave, and then come to find out somebody had blasted in the backside of the mountain and had taken it out a long time ago. So I don't know why they continued the show, but it's still on, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. They just started the 3rd season. So, Skinwalker Ranch is coming up on is it their 6th season or their 5th season?
Fifth, I think.
Is it 5th? And they're still going strong. In fact, they had better ratings for the last season than they did for the second one, which was their boom one.
Yeah, I was watching a documentary on PBS, and they were, I forget what, they were looking for something, and they said, and yes, we have this astrophysicist, Travis Taylor. And I said, hey!
Yeah. Yeah. He's well known.
Well, he does those ancient
alien
astronaut things, too.
He used to do Redneck Rockets, too, or Rockets by Rednecks, or something like that. That's one really cool thing about him, is he has a sense of humor when it comes to his background. He's from Alabama, so.
I would like to talk to that guy they had on the first season that left.
Uh-huh.
And I'd like to find out what happened with that. Because there was obviously a conflict between the two of them.
Nope. Not according to him. Who can tell you is Cheryl, who was one of our guests. She is very in with all of them now. And she talks to everybody. She saw everybody at Phenomicon. So
it's just he seemed very disturbed with the way things were going towards the end of the first season, and then come the second season, he was gone.
Well, I believe it was something fairly simple. There was a conflict, but it wasn't with Travis. It was with the production team, and it had something to do with his books. So, I will, like I said, I will talk to Cheryl and I'll get you what it really was and what they say it was are two different things. But he seems to be good friends with Travis. There are all kinds of pictures of him sitting next to him at Phenomicon talking to him. So,
well, I know there was a lot of upset after Travis admitted to, and that Brandon was upset with him, and so was Eric.
Yeah.
They were both upset with him, and you could tell they weren't happy with him. But it seemed to blow over after a couple episodes.
Well, he explained to them the reasons, stuff we can't know about. And they've certainly benefited from him being on there. So, Eric.
Well, they got all those scientists to come out with their high-tech equipment.
Exactly.
And that probably wouldn't have happened if Travis hadn't been part of the...
With anybody who's interested in Skinwalker Ranch and wants to hear some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, go over and join Skinwalker Insider. It's skinwalker-ranch.com. And it's only $10 a month, and you get to see, they have a closed-circuit camera feed that they're adding things to all the time. They're going to have thermal night vision and all kinds of things soon. And I'm sure the cost of it will go up, but you can talk to Eric directly. Eric is on the chat. So if you don't know who Eric is, he's the science guy, the other science guy other than Travis. And he runs the whole production of the things. So he's always there, and you can message him. He may not get back to you for a while, but he will get back to you.
Well, if you're really interested in that show and you want to find out more background about it, the man who I think he was the ranch owner or something that was on the ranch before Bigelow bought it.
Yeah.
Wrote a book. And it's very interesting. And he talks about a lot of stuff that came up later on the Skinwalker Ranch. They talk about, when the original owner had the place, this happened and that happened. And he discusses a lot of that.
What about is the name?
I can't. It's on Audible.
Is it? Yeah.
I should have my phone in here with me when we're doing these so I can look that up.
It's
but
all...
it's one of it's like the hunt for the Skinwalker or something like that. It's
you don't mean Ryan Skinner, do you?
I think he did one, but I think somebody else did one too.
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan's books are somewhat imaginative.
Well, this was a guy who actually lived there, because he's telling first-person stories.
Okay.
He was talking about when, I think it was the son of the ranch owner, because he talks about his dad took a gun and shot the werewolf with a 44 Magnum, and
right.
Then he went back in the house and got a rifle and shot him, and the werewolf didn't do anything. He just turned and looked at him.
Well, I will try to find this. It's
but like I said, it's on Audible. There's several Skinwalker story things on Audible.
Eric Retz, that's a pen name for a fellow who is supposedly a one of Dragon's people for a year, and of course he's writing books now. There's a British author, and
that British one, that's the same guy that did that. If you ever, don't watch that Skinwalker Ranch documentary done by the Brits, it's horrible.
It is.
None of it was filmed inside the ranch. They show some pictures like from outside the gate and stuff, and he's just quoting books, and so and don't bother paying money. I bought that, watched it, and I was sorry I did, because it was pretty terrible.
Yeah. Well, I can't find it here, but I'll keep looking, and
we'll have that for you next show.
Okay.
We'll tell you.
I try to read all of the direct evidence from it. It's always interesting. I know the previous owners, the ones Bigelow bought the ranch from, just went through amazing things. They had poltergeist activity, and they heard voices. They just amazing stuff. So
yep.
If it had been inside a house, they would have said it was haunted. But because it was on a ranch, it was high strangeness. So.
Yep. All right. Well, we're 12 seconds away from being on the hour. So.
Okay, we have done our job.
Yep. So we got to let you guys go.
You guys
and we will be back. We will be back next week. You'll see the show at 12 o'clock, noon on Sunday as usual. So,
yep,
so I will play us out. So y'all take care. We'll see you next week. Ta-ta.